Hey, so this video is going to be kind of cool because we're going to show you guys something called a generator. Now again, this is more of a tutorial, so I know I'm throwing like just pretty much almost every single painter tool in the software at you in a very short amount of time, but I'm kind of guiding you through it. The generators are pretty awesome though, and I think this is one of those things that people really cling to. Like they love using these on their projects because it is such an easy and effective way to add details in the crevices or the corners of things. So I'm going to show you how to do this a couple ways. We're going to do edge damage, and I'm going to try using a generator to kind of get some dirt that's built up sort of in the crevices here. Where you'd expect things like that to kind of slowly accumulate over time. But they're pretty slick. Now these are going to end up using the mesh maps, and we talked about these like a long time ago. We baked these way earlier in the project, but the curvature map and where's the other guy? And occlusion, which is kind of like contact shadows. Those two right there are going to be really useful for getting these generators working. Let's try doing the dirt one first. So when I kind of think about dirt, we know dirt's going to build up in sort of the contact areas, like all up in the nook right here, right? Now, where would the dirt fit in the layer order? Now, for me, I want to make sure that the dirt sits on everything, because it should be sitting over everything, right? It should be on the pages, the leather, the fabric. Everything would probably have dirt build up. So what I'm going to do is make a new folder above everything. We're going to call this dirt group. And then within that, instead of me, trying to come up with some new material or a fill layer, like I don't think there's anything wrong with us just going in here and seeing, is there anything that happens to work? Nope. Okay, no dirt, stone, okay? But you can tell at the top we do have like concrete, and there's even a ground gravel. That guy right there, even if we change the color, might work pretty well, because I kind of like how there's already texture variation. Let's try using this guy. Ground gravel. This is probably going to cover everything, so it's going to look a little weird. Yep, that looks like ground gravel. Let's see, what do we have here for control? Gravel scale. So those are the rocks, it looks like. I don't really want too many chunky pieces of that. So I probably am going to bring this guy down. Yeah, that would probably be a little better. I don't really want those big chunks. Okay, this is probably going to be fine. I don't know if we even have a color option. Nope. Oh, I have luminosity. So this, I can color correct this to be a little darker. So let's maybe pull this back just a bit more like that. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so I've got this little material of gravel that I've kind of affected, layering over everything. Now I'm going to use this generator, so we still need to use a mask on the group. Okay, so it's going to disappear for a second because the mask is black. This time, though, we're going to click on the first one in the effects. This is a generator. These are awesome. Now when I click it, you can see just like with paint layers and fill layers, it kind of drops this thing below it. Now let me show you what we have for the options here. There are quite a few different ones. You can actually build your own with the editors. These are a lot more advanced. I would not recommend jumping into those until you've really played around with these first. But the one we're going to use first for the dirt is called dirt. So the dirt one feeds off of the contact areas. So let me show you what this looks like. See how it's kind of using that ambient occlusion and it's all built into here? So if I click on the generator, we have a bunch of controls for how it layers the dirt in there. And I really want to like remove a lot of that surface detail. I believe that is going to be the grunge amount. Yeah, there we go. Let's pull that back. I don't mind some being on the surface like that. There we go. What else do we have here? Edge masking, triplanar contrast, dirt contrast. I might pull the dirt level back. Let's pull back dirt contrast too. Dirt level. Something like this. I think what I'm going to do, because see how it's kind of fighting where the dirt is, it's still making a really perfect section in here. Let's actually fix this with another layer. So I am going to leave it kind of like this, right about there. Okay, so it's kind of faint on the top, sort of soft in the contact areas. Here's what the material looks like. Let me turn it on and off. It's kind of cool, right? But I just know that the consistency of that's a little too much. So maybe what we could do is on that generator, let's just kind of add one of these fill layers and just throw in some grunge map just to break up how perfect that line was of like all the dirt. Sure. Grunge Galvanic Large. Love it. Let's try that guy out. It's interesting. This would be kind of cool for water stains. Might use that later. Let's do contrast on that guy. And we'll maybe have that do a, I don't know, an overlay. Yeah, you can see all I'm doing with this is I'm just trying to like break up what looked a little bit too perfect. Let's go back. Yeah, that to me already, even though it's very subtle, feels a little better. Okay, yeah, we're probably good there. Excellent. So there's one generator out of the way. That's the dirt. Now the other one we're going to do is with the leather. So for this one, I'm actually going to create a worn leather section. So to do this, it's a little weird because, like the worn leather, if you look at the reference, it's like technically a different material. And I know I could probably color correct the leather to like a lighter tone. But I think it's going to be easier just to treat that worn undercoat as a completely separate section. So what we're going to do is, let me just turn all this off, because the worn leather should be at the bottom. That's underneath the clean leather. And I really do want to construct it that way. So we're going to drop this below this guy. I have all the other layers turned off. Let's call this worn leather group. And let's see what we got. Let's go to materials, leather. Leather rough is going to be perfect for this one. Let's drag that in there. And I'm just disabling all that. That way I can kind of see what this is going to look like. That's probably pretty good. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to worry about too much of that yet. Let's just turn the leather one above it on. Actually, we can turn all this back on. Okay. Now, you know how this is covering the other one? So how do we fix this? Well, I want the worn leather to appear in different sections. This is covering it because the alpha of that is solid white, because we used that polygon fill a long time ago. So what do I want to do? I want to like create black chunks on the corners so it thinks it's seeing through to the layer beneath it, which is the worn leather. So how do I introduce black on the corners? What we're going to do is leave this the same. This is our polygon fill we did way back in one of the first videos. But on top of that, let's add in a generator above it. And we're going to pick metal edgeware. I know this seems weird because we're not doing metal, but the metal edgeware is good for anything in the corners. It's not just metal specific. You can use this for any corner detail. See what it's doing? Now this also has kind of like that extra breakup over here. Let me just bring up the grunge scale. Actually, oh, sorry, I want to go down on that. Yes, bring that down. I might leave some of that there. It could look cool if some of the top areas are also worn down. Now this is creating a really thick line. Let's kind of go down here a little bit. That's based off the curvature, because it's using the curvature mesh map to generate that edge detail. Actually, you can kind of see what it's doing now. It's backwards, but we'll fix that in a second. I just want to get this to be a little less severe. So let's go to the generator and let's just fade that curvature back. And I think like the other one, yeah, see how perfect that is? That really bugs me. So let's also try to fix that. Maybe before we do this though, I do need to get these two to blend together, because see how that is kind of like removing all the white. So what do I want? I want the black to be here, not this white section. So let me try inverting it. Okay, so now it is black in that section, but if you look at it, oh, actually it kind of worked by mistake, but see how it's also filling in this section? It doesn't really matter because it's all kind of working out in the way the layers are set up, but I really do want those like side areas to still be black. So I could change this to a multiply, which will keep that blacker detail beneath it. And I just know that because I've been doing blend modes for a while, so it's much quicker for me to kind of sort of figure out and know what needs to be changed. You'll get the hang of that the more you do it. But see how like what it's doing now? We have that kind of worn leather everywhere. It's pretty cool, but my other issue, like I was mentioning earlier, is it's just a little too kind of consistent in some of those areas right there. So we can break this up just like we did before. Let's just throw like a fill layer above everything. Find like a cool grunge map. I don't know, let's try, oh, let's do 009, sure, why not? Throw that in there. Okay, let's kind of look at this. How's this layering? Let's make that a little bit... I need to make the pattern smaller. Yeah, let's also bring the balance down. Let's see, I need to make some of those areas that are black, I need to make them white. So what I'm going to do is pull the balance back quite a bit, push the contrast up, because it should look like it's either torn leather or it isn't, so I really don't want to have these areas where it's a lot of gray. Let's see what happens if I do a max lighten on that. Yeah, see how that's like eating into that a little bit? So we do have a problem where it's kind of like creating this little black pocket right there. Again, it doesn't really matter because of the way it's all layering together. You're not going to see that. But if you wanted to fix it, what we could do is just like we did that paint layer earlier to set up the black masking in there, I could still go back and fix that and just do another paint layer above everything, pick the polygon fill, put it to black, and then I'm almost like manually repainting the black back in those sections. But yeah, check out what it looks like now. That generator is pretty awesome, isn't it? It adds like so much detail in like all the corners. So students really tend to gravitate towards that one. Now it also is almost to a fault where you may find you're using generators too much, and when you look at the project, it'll look like a generator. It looks too consistent. Like even my edges here, I really need to kind of break those up better. But I think you guys kind of get the idea. I could go in there with brushes, layer a bunch of other stuff in there, but I am kind of digging the way that's looking right now. So I think we have like just one more video probably for the book. The last thing I want to show you guys is going to be going over this gold trim, because I don't really care for how like clean and consistent that line is, especially now that we've beat up the rest of the book. That gold is way too perfect. So let's beat that one up.